viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. And this is what we are faced with, and this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
I remember when the ATL wasn't banging, now they banging. Niggas throwing sets and them bullets start ringing, bitches banging. I remember when the ATL wasn't banging, now they banging. Niggas throwing sets and them bullets start ringing like bang, bang, oh, bang, bang, bitch, nigga, bang, 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 bang.
Bitch, yeah.
Hate me now, enemies gon' hate me now. Enemies gon' hate me now, enemies gon' hate me now. Hate me now, enemies. Hustlers got some mana, but I handle that, so hate me now. Got the Louis Slugger, you better cover when I hit a foul. You better be so quick to get it here when the pistol show. All my niggas with me creeping slow, and we on that blow. That I use, searching for an easy man. Demon in me wakes, now I shake and don't feel okay. Yeah, I'm terrified in my mind, so corrupted too. Feel so blizzo, hizzo, off that snizzo, but still keep it smooth. Evil prince, stay so blitz, busy down with Psycho Mike. Scheming, leaning all throughout the night, down in Metro Heights. Bitch, you getting sprayed from grenade when I put up here. Gangsta P, here with me, and we always going in. Shaking in my bed, hating leaves you where y'all dead. Don't you rest so tears up, call your blizz up when I'm on my man. I face so much crime, stay inside. I have on my mind. Please don't shoot your kids on, send you his on, get your miss on ride. Enemies so close to me, especially gon' hate me now. Motivated jealousy, but still I elevate somehow. Violent face all in my space, deep inside you hating me. Take that loaded Glock 19 and kill that kind with courtesy. Enemies so close to me, especially gon' hate me now. Motivated jealousy, but still I elevate somehow. Violent face all in my space, deep inside you hating me. Take that loaded Glock 19 and kill that kind with courtesy. Hate me now, enemies gon' hate me now. Hate me now, enemies.
You hate me now, nigga, damn, I thought we was cool. You hate me now, I thought we was cool.
You mad at me now, but all I view is laughing. Then chop a bullet, split him up like he a fraction. He ran up on me, think it's chicken, now he past tense. Yes, I am evil, Chris, but also Trace, so blast him. I catch him loafing, I'ma up the gun and let it bust. I got them niggas in the car ready to shoot shit up. You mention me, boy, I'ma kill him, best not test your luck. Yo, bitch, a groupie, all up in my DMs tryna fuck. These niggas lying in they songs, you know they capping. I'm on the block, I put in work, you niggas slacking. My nigga get jammed up and then we go and post bail. But if your nigga run up, we gon' send his ass to hell. Ain't have a ruler, kept a Ruger when I was in school. I'm hitting ops with this stick like I'm
gon' say you wanna get paid, you wanna be racist.
Team 4K got slapped
Walking
with
down,
pipe.
still got on these shades, even though it ain't night, cause they little pink pills too hard. Let's go on a SRT with a Draco tank, got a little boy way, can't sleep at night.
You gotta go get that motherfucking dough. You gotta run, say fuck all that hoe. I was just broken, I didn't have a friend, so I went in the trap and I sold me some dope.
Let's
For
go.
real.
Poppin' purse, make her suck dick for an hour, get to work. I told the bitch to get nasty for double. She bought her best friend, they for each other. Okay, for me, make her fuck my brother. Got a team full of players, free band, no struggle.
Big 4K down to the door.
Might get in there, mo, go dig with shovel. Break out the chopstick, hit on wherever. Broad daylight, bitch, I'ma get on wherever. Let's go, double O walk on this bitch, but I like to talk on this bitch.
Hold on.
Perkins said walk on this bitch, then Perkins said talk on this bitch.
Hold on.
I should be geeking out drugs, taking all kinds of shit. Bitch on the full she fine, he see all kind of bitch.
Running through the design, don't care about shit. I can work one time, though. Rich little man got shot, you slide, little boy, you a bitch. 15 ball, one play on me. 15
Yo, peace. What's going on? What's happening? Hey, look, change your plan. The show that I plan on doing, I'm not doing it. I don't know where Vancat at. He'll probably be up shortly. It's an open discussion tonight. It's an open discussion. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. Edit shit out. We'll do it when we can do it. I'll talk about the Iran situation whenever I can talk about it. I'm gonna give it like 5 minutes, and we're gonna see what the fuck going on. Other than that, I'm just chopping it up. Yeah, hey, give me 1 second though. Give me 1 second. Okay, all right. Yeah, just to give an update again, later on this summer, TFP will be returning, TFP 2.0. Myself, Vancat, Ricardo, Mike, we'll be chopping it up with politics on a weekly show. It's gonna be kind of the same format as the original Tape Viz Politics with a twist. So we'll be doing that. But first of all, let me give a backdrop. Because I don't want to mislead nobody. The original show was supposed to be the truth about the Iran conflict. I'm not doing that shit no more. It's no point. I want to do it at some point. It'll probably be the next show. I know what the title say, but I ain't go in and change title. I ain't do none of that shit. So what I'm assuming is gonna happen tonight, if Blackson show up, we gonna chop it up. I'm gonna let him air out what he got to air out as far as his information. I'll let Vancat do whatever he chooses to do, and we just gonna have a back and forth. That's it. You know what I'm saying? And then when all the dust settles, you know what I'm saying, we're gonna dap it up and we're gonna formulate shows based off of what was said tonight. That's just what it is. So, and if that don't happen, oh well. You know what I'm saying? If Vancat show here in a couple of minutes, I still want to talk about the Mamdani situation, because I think it's important, and we can contrast off of each other based off of that, because I think it's an important topic. Do you guys think that this is a precursor to what's to come from a national standpoint in terms of democratic politics? I say no. It's gonna be interesting to see what Vancat say. It's gonna be very interesting what to see, because for him being a lefty loony, this like Christmas. You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna be interesting to see what he think about it. I got my own views on it. Again, I'm not for any particular parameters around a centralized government. I ain't with that. Everybody knows that. I don't give a damn if you put an adjective in front of socialism. It's still what it is, socialism. I also understand that certain aspects of our government already exist in the realm of socialism. I get that, but this right here, like I said, I'm reserved what I feel about it in totality until I hear from Van Cat and Ricardo too. If Ricardo got an opinion on it, it'll be interesting to hear what they think about it. It wasn't surprising at all. It wasn't surprising based on his opponents. You know what I'm saying? Hell, one of his opponents, Lander, was already conspiring against Andrew Cuomo in the first place. So, that wasn't surprising in and of itself, but it wasn't a surprising campaign. A surprise. It wasn't surprising to me at all as far as the election went. Peace, Van Cat, what's up?
On MD.
What's happening? What's happening?
Trying to survive in this Trump world.
Well, it sounds like, man, you might want to start planning to go to New York City here in a few months. You might can make it. Why? So let's stick on that topic. Like I said, we just shooting the shit. I ain't really got nothing planned in terms of like any detail. It's been so much shit going on today. Like I said, if Blackson show up, I'm giving them the flow. I don't damn what I'm talking about. I'm giving them the flow. Until the end, if he show up, he show up. If he don't, he don't. Until the end, we'll talk about this Zoran Mamdani situation. What do you think about the primary yesterday? And there's some excitement in the air, man. What you think about it?
I'm loving it. I'm loving it. From the moment I heard that, I was happy as hell. Cuomo is, you got these Democrats that are just not acting like Democrats, and Cuomo is not ideal for the party, especially for right now. And you can tell by the way Trump's reaction is. That tweet he put out, all butthurt about, obviously he always gets into his racist bag, so he's just going off about a Muslim this and a Muslim that, and how can you have a Muslim in there in the mayor position and whatnot. So all you got to do is, if you're not sure of a decision, just check and see what a Republican response is, then do the opposite. That'll be the right decision. So I'm good with everything that happened with that that election. I'm very happy with the outcome, and there's more to come, in my view.
Okay, all right. So you said something that perked my ears up. You said Democrats are not doing Democrat things. What you mean by that?
It's just that, like how they you'll see Democrats doing things and you wonder, why are they voting along at times with Republicans? Why are Democrats censoring Democrats? Why are certain moves being made when all this time you're hearing all this talk of the other side is problematic, the other side is this and that. And then when it comes down to the votes, when you pay attention to moments when people vote, it doesn't look like the stuff that they were saying really mattered. So Cuomo, he's been problematic for a minute. And
yeah,
I just like the fact that he,
I said, no, you're right about that.
Yeah. And so I love the fact that that he got called out by the voters. And he's been acting a little reckless in recent years. So it's good. And it's inviting and motivating to see that. That's what I like to talk about with elections and whatnot. It should have consequences to it. And when people pay attention to what's going on, it shouldn't have to take where we're at right now for people to be magically involved. You should have already been locked in, and you should know what time it is right now. So, but I'm glad.
Right.
I'm glad we're at least getting there now.
Well, all right. So let's get to the point of contention then. Let's get to the elephant in the room. We talking about a self-described, quote unquote. Let me put quotations on it. Quote unquote democratic socialist, right? Self-described. Now, let's get into some numbers. And again, I wish I could pull this stuff up. I can't. We'll do it another show. I saw the exit polling this morning.
Okay.
The exit polling showed over 60% now. I want you to listen to me clear.
Yeah.
Over 60% of the black electorate that voted in the primary Tuesday night, black electorate voted for Andrew Cuomo.
See,
Over 60%.
But exactly. But that could be an obvious reason for that. Cuomo has more
And what's that?
name recognition, familiarity. The one candidate, I mean, most people wouldn't have known his opponent. So, people in general, they don't really pay attention to politics like it should be paid attention to. So some of those people probably aren't really locked in and they just know, oh, we knew Cuomo. For good or bad, we knew him. So they went with that.
Okay. So in other words, niggas in New York City are stupid.
I didn't say that. I don't want to say that.
Hey, keep it real. Keep it real. Keep it real.
I don't want
I disagree with that. I disagree with that wholeheartedly. Because we know that Mamdani ran an excellent campaign. He was all over the city.
Mm-hmm.
He was all over. He ran an excellent campaign. What I would say is, and you know where I'm headed. You know where I'm headed with it, Venkat.
Mm-hmm.
What I would say is, Mamdani did not run a campaign that was exclusive. Well, let me. That'd be the wrong word to use.
Okay.
He did not run a campaign that black people in New York City felt, whether it was true or not. That's not my argument. That black people felt had their best interest as far as their communities in New York City. I tell you who did think that he ran a campaign suited to their interests: Muslim Americans, LGBTQ plus. You know the laundry list. Right? I don't need to go through it all.
Right.
These people showed up and showed out for Mamdani. Right. Now, these people did not have the same enthusiasm in the 2024 election. You know it, and I know it.
Right.
They didn't have the same enthusiasm. Are we looking at a situation where, once again, where black people, and like I said, we're talking about a primary at the end of the day. It's not a big turnout of people. Is this a situation where maybe it was here's another situation where black people, we gonna vote, lack of a better term, establishment, because at the very least we know what we're getting ourselves into with that. We don't want to get flushed down the toilet even more dealing with this populist movement, because that's what it is, a populist movement. You know my position with pop. You're right. There we go. You're right. You're right, because you know my position on it. Populism is populism. It don't matter if it's left or right. There's no such thing as left wing or right wing populism. Populism is populism because it's a formulation of what is perceived to be a collective grievance toward, quote unquote, the establishment. Right. That's exactly what this was. I mean, all Mamdani did was take the blueprint from Bernie Sanders and brought it to a localized election. Point blank, period. Now here's the kicker, and this is where we can have a discussion. Let's look at some of the things Mamdani is promising. He's talking about free buses. I'm assuming he didn't mention the train, so I guess you still got to pay to get on the subway, but you can get on the train you can get on the bus for free. I'm assuming that's what that means, right?
Yeah.
He's talking about rent freeze. Talking about rent freezes. He's talking about increasing taxes on the wealthy.
Right.
He's talking about more
So
centralized services. You know,
so
like
so
it's gonna be a test case. Go ahead.
with those talking points and with those subjects of focus, the fact that 60% of black men didn't identify with that, that's problematic because I don't know what it is with not just that certain segment of black men or black people, but America in general. You're constantly saying yes to the Republican Party, and Cuomo is like a representative. I mean, I look at him closer to a Republican than a Democrat, but
I
this is
disagree with you. I disagree with you.
I personally
That's
look
not
at it
true.
that way.
You
I
you look
personally,
at him. You look at him that way because of the donor class that props him
yeah,
up. But
yeah.
that's all. But you can't put a label on him based off that. That's all politicians. That's
Mm,
all of them.
I lost a
Cuomo
lot of.
definitely had. I have too. Go ahead. I'll let you finish up.
No. I'm just saying I lost a lot. I lost a lot for him in general, and especially in the last few years. I really don't like the guy anymore. But and I think that he could utilize a lot of these Democrats that try to come off as, well, I'm centrist, or I'm able to work both sides and all this stuff. I'm not saying you shouldn't, but there's a little sliminess there with him that I don't appreciate. And I think at this point, blacks, minorities, women, uh, just even white males, like, you gotta ask yourself an honest question. Like, you're always ready to go punch that ticket back to the Republican Party, no matter what has happened or what will happen. And what is the result that you always get? No Democrat usually comes in office under good terms. They're usually reacting to a mess of a past Republican. So I don't understand it, and I'm sick of it. So this results to this election here. Maybe it's an early indicator of the temperature of what's out there right now. But again, like Ricardo will say, a lot of these people are fickle, and it's just like, oh well, whoever's in power right now, we're going to do the opposite, and that doesn't get you anywhere. You got to be a little bit more strategic. But I don't want to nigga babble, so
No,
I'm
it's
gonna
all
take it
good.
back to you.
This a nigga babble show, man. It's all good. Like I said, everybody nigga babbling. We ain't. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, it's led to that.
Yeah.
Red alert. All hands stand to battle stations.
Warning. Warning. Nigga babble detected. System overload. Warning. Warning. Nigga babble detected. System overload.
And with that being said, peace, Ricardo. What's happening?
Classic.
What's going on? What's going on?
I can't call it. So what you think about Zoran Mamdani, man? Are you moving to New York City with Venkat?
No, I am not. No, I'm not moving to New York City, but I'm kind of mixed with him, to be honest. I don't really know that much about him, to be perfectly, concise. But I'm gonna try to give him the benefit of the doubt. I just don't really see, the big hoopla. But I get where the whole temperature in the room thing with him is about, the moving up and down, and the Como thing. I just want to say that, I just came into the thick of what Venkat was saying. Because what is he citing himself along the lines of Bernie Sanders? Is that what he's trying? Because I'm trying to read him. I just
To me, he a
can't
clone.
gauge
He a Bernie clone to me.
that. But there can only be one
That's
Bernie
perfect.
Sanders, though. You see,
That's
that's the
perfect.
issue. That's my problem with these up and coming Democrats. I don't need you to be emulating what Bernie Sanders is, because we already knew what Bernie Sanders. It's even more harder knowing that he tried his hardest to run, to become a president, and he still got knocked down by the very same party that he was trying to elevate. So it's kind of like, I don't need you to be Bernie Sanders, if that makes sense. I need you to
But
be you.
they set Bernie up, man.
They
I'm
set him up
still
for
pissed off
failure.
about that.
But they gonna
So
vacate with the conspiracy theory. Hell,
They
hell,
set him up.
yeah, you blue black son. You blue son.
Speaking of the elephant in the room, where's that? Where's that big black at? I mean, where's
I,
Blackson at?
I mean, Black Son to come up, I guess, or he'll just respond to the video. Like I said, I want to give Black Son, shout out to Black Son. I want to give him the flow to let him say what he got to say. I'm reserving the right for him to be able to speak and present
But
whatever
MD,
information.
but
Yeah,
MD, he made a video, man. He made a video talking about he's gonna be there. He's gonna be here.
he did. But I guess he got upset. And again, so okay, let's sidebar real quick.
Okay.
So again, I don't know. Now, well, first I got you here, so I ask you: did you ever give the impression that you were doing a debate with Black Son?
No, it wasn't a debate. We're just having a conversation.
I mean that's what I thought. Now that can lead to a debate, which is fine. I ain't got if that's what y'all want to do, that's up to y'all. But when you start to throw ad hominems and shuffle your feet, bro, ain't no need for all that. Get up on the panel. Let's have a discussion. Air out whatever you think you need to air out, and we can move it along from there. That's all I was saying. I wasn't trying to be divisive and none of that.
What are you saying? That Blackson was afraid that
Black
he would have
Son.
to.
What I'm saying is Black Son. He took that you called him a Russian propagandist. He took that as a shot. He took it as a shot,
Yeah.
and he basically considered those fighting words.
Oh, come on now.
So now he wants to come up here and state his premise, and then you can rebut whatever.
I was ready to hear it. I was ready to hear what he had to say.
I was too, man, but I don't know. So hopefully at some point in time, we can hear from Black Son sometime this night, and we can chop it up. And then after that, we can have fun, man, and we can come up with some more tantalating subjects throughout the coming weeks.
Well, it's clear. First of all, it's clear that he can't defend the Trump administration.
No, but I needed him to come up and do that, because there seems to be a split now with MAGA. We're seeing Candace and we're seeing Marjorie Taylor Greene getting all hoopla. Oh, this is not what we wanted him to do. He was. I was saying to myself, but really, people, did you not know he doesn't go by scripts? So why are you guys surprised? So I'm trying to figure out, and is there a split now between MAGA groups? Is there the America First initiative is now done for, or is this just a thing? Because if we're going by logic and we're going to go back to how this whole nonsense started with MAGA, sorry to cut you off, Venkat. The America First thing started from Lindenberg, days, when he was like, we should not do World War II. There's no need for America to be a part of any war. And lo and behold, they had to go in, because Theodore was like, well, it's going to make no sense. We have to, at some point, acknowledge the fact that we're going to have to be in this war. And then, Pearl Harbor happened. So my thing is, I want to know from the megas, is this a thing where you guys are now stunned and shocked that, oh my God, 'cause this is why I wanted Blackson to come up. Are you shocked that this whole thing started with Iran, and now that Iran is now aggravated because, Iran is now aligned with Russia? How does this now further the whole thing that he didn't go to Congress first? He just decided to bombard Iran. So I want to know the whole thing. Are they mad that he decided to go off script, or are they mad that we're being drawn into another useless war, Which, by the way, Trump did mention that, Obama was going to do it first and bet you any money in that. Here we are. He did it
Yeah.
exactly what
Well,
he said
that's
Obama was going to do.
that's a good point. That's a good point, Ricardo. Because
So it's so
if I
it's so
can,
illogical. It's stupid to me. I just don't get it. But I want to know what their thinking and rationale is at this point, because they should be the first one signing up in conscription wise to be the first foot on the ground to be at this war, because this is what y'all voted for. Y'all MAGA people, this is what you voted for, right? So you don't get to sit here now. And that's why I kept saying, I don't want to hear nobody complaining, especially from those strong MAGA people. Oh, yes, and this is, I don't want to hear it. Y'all going to be the first one to sign up for conscription wise, to be in the front of the line, to be in this war. This is what you wanted. You guys going to do it. I don't want to hear nothing else from anybody going, oh, this is not what I, no. You going to be the first ones to sign up, to list yourself, to go abroad, to go fight for America. This is what y'all wanted. This is what the man did. This is what I don't want to hear nothing else. So I wanted to hear Blackson come up and defend why Trump did the whole thing with Iran. And seeing that now Iran is now aggravated, how does this now flow with Russia? And now, because he was saying, "Oh, Ukraine is now quiet." What do you want Ukraine to do? Like, at this point, I mean, he just he bombard a foreign country without consulting Congress. This is why we have checks and balances. I hate to say that I'm a constitutionalist by heart, but when I took the oath to become a citizen of this country, I had to listen and go through the whole ebb and flow of the historical context of the Constitution. I don't want to hear crap from MAGA people talk about, oh, this is what y'all voted for. This is crazy. And MD has been saying, hell in the hand basket is literally here, but we knew it was coming. But I didn't expect a split vote between Marjorie Taylor Greene going, oh my God, what has he done? Then Candace going, oh, I think I'm having buyer's remorse. Then you have, a whole bunch of people on the sidelines going, I don't know what to say. Maybe I should not say anything. No, I need y'all to step up to the plate now and defend what has been happening for the past week. That's what I
Well,
wanted to
well,
hear him come and say.
well. Let me say this, then I'll let Van Cat go. I actually disagree with that. The MAGA maniacs didn't want this. They just accept it because it's Trump. They didn't want this.
That's
How
my
many
issue. That's my
how
issue,
many
though,
times
Andy.
did we hear, especially during the campaign when Kamala was campaigning with Never Trump Republicans and all that. What
Mm-hmm.
did we hear all campaign cycle? Kamala wants a war. She's trying to bring in the Bush administration
Mm-hmm.
2.0,
Oh
weapons of
yes.
mass destruction and forever wars. That's all we heard.
Yep.
Now and see this is the dumbassness of Trump, and really and ultimately the dumbassness of populism. Trump goes in. Trump is a clear case of ADD. The name of the
It's so
game with dealing
true.
with Trump. The name of the game with dealing with Trump. It's a game between who can be the last person to talk to Trump at the end of the day.
Yep.
It's
Facts.
a scramble
That is
between who
so
can be in
facts.
Trump ear last. All before that situation happened with Iran. We'll just talk about it. We'll get back to the Mamdani stuff. That whole situation with Iran pre the G7 summit. He was crystal clear on what his position was with Iran. He was saying he wasn't going in and doing nothing. He was going to supply Israel with whatever they needed for the strikes, so on and so forth. This is when initially Israel struck. Come to G7 summit, Trump get the hell on. Everybody like, what's going on? It should have been clear what was happening. I don't know what the guessing game was. We was finna get ready to do something. You're not just gonna up and leave the G7 summit on day one. Without something serious happening. He leaves the G7 summit, goes to have the Security Council meeting. The writing was on the wall right then and there. That same day, we get intel that a whole bunch of trucks lined up in the nuclear facility in Iran. Well, what the hell are the trucks there for? Iran know what's going on. They say, hey, look, man, let's get this shit the hell up out of here. Something about to happen. I can't prove that they moved any nuclear material. I can't prove that. I'm not part of the intelligence community, but I ain't no dumbass either. Then come Friday, everybody on not Friday, Saturday, everybody eating dinner. Next thing you know, breaking news: U.S. done struck Iran, and now everybody in uproar. I'm sitting at the house. My kids were like, Lord, I ain't gonna make it to turn 17. We all going to war. Everybody in the damn uproar. I'm like, hey, look, man, look, relax. Ain't nothing going on. This is Donald Trump. This is just another episode of the Donald Trump show.
Taco.
Taco. And it wasn't Tuesday. What I'm telling you simply is this. It was all a game. And I'm not, of course, again, I don't know nothing. Tinfoil hat, if that's what you want to call it. I'm not so sure that Iran wasn't in on this whole debacle. That's where I'm at with it at this particular time. Then the day after, on Sunday morning, Dan, Raising Kane, and Pete Hegseth have a briefing. And Dan Kane said right then and there, he said, hey, look, all we know is we put the MOPs into the mountain, the bunker buster bombs. We don't know what happened from there. He said it. And then Pete Hegseth had the damage control. He said it right then and there.
And ain't nobody believing none of that bullcrap rhetoric they're spinning. Oh, why don't you believe that it did damage to the nuke? Because we've seen this all played out before. So there's no way that you could factually prove that those and not to say that those bombs are not destructive, but we're just saying, how do you know for sure that it put a full stop grind to the Iranian nuclear program? There's no way you could prove that. But then he goes on TV today, oh, you media people, it's in your DNA, it's in your blood to go against everything that Donald Trump says. Listen, if you could prove that those bunker bombs destroyed everything, and I mean every nickel and dime to that program, we'll accept it. We'll go hand in that. But all we're saying is this might not have been the be all, the end all for whatever damage you try to do to the nuclear program. This doesn't mean it stops, and that's what everyone's saying. But he was in a fit of rage today, and I was saying to myself, this is just it's beyond hell's basket at this point. Is that you believe them or you believe logical common sense? And I just, for one, cannot. This is why I wanted Blackson to come up here. I wanted to hear his take on all of this because I need to know where MAGA stands. Because
hold on, Ricardo. Today, Blackson said he can't comment on the Iran thing because it's
why?
A developing,
Why?
It's
Why
a developing situation.
No,
and it would be irresponsible of him to comment on it because it's a developing situation.
I call cap on all of it. I need comments. I need every one of them to step to. Again, I need y'all to step up to the plate. If we're gonna go by this, I need somebody who is a hardcore conservative, like pre MAGA, to step up to the podium, and I need a MAGA Knight to come up as well, and I need them both to debate and say, all right, well, what logically makes sense here? Because if we're gonna go through this whole scenario here, because again, no one wants a war. We went out of our way to pull out of Afghanistan, and that was a huge thing because it's like, oh my God, we left so much multi-billion-dollar equipment. If it was me, and here we are going back into another one. Did we not go through Iraq the first time where they were like there was weapons of mass destruction and all this crap, this whole rhetoric that spun out of control? Thank God there were certain countries that were like, if you put our troops in harm's way by going into this damn country without proof, we're gonna kick you out of power. That was one. Canada, remember that. Canada said that our citizens were like, listen, you can do whatever you want to do, but if you put 1 foot troop in Iraq, knowing damn well that we have no evidence of no weapons of mass, we're gonna vote you out of power. And Chrétien was like, oh hell no, I'm not gonna do that. You see what I'm saying? So it's crazy, but I just wanted to know why it's like everybody is like losing their damn mind now. Oh my God, I can't comment. Oh, I just need to see this is development. Please give me your logical take on what is going on now, because there's nothing different with Donald Trump. He's always been pro-war. He's always been so and so. But he always spun the narrative that if it was me, I'm the peacemaker. I'm the greatest thing to ever occur for a president. Here we are. We're unsure now where we stand because we're so isolated as a country now. Thank God we still have NATO, doing their activities and whatnot. But where does the world see or perceive the United States? Are we not like fully isolated because of this whole administration? I'm so confused. I'm literally like, where do we stand now? Because geopolitically, the statement goes, the enemy of my enemy is my best friend. So who is the United States' best friend at this point? Can somebody point it out to me? Is it Ukraine? Is it Russia? Is it Great Britain? Is it Canada? Because you isolated everybody. Is it Mexico? Do Mexico still fight? Do they do what? Is it Japan? I'm literally asking questions here. If we could get a maniac to come up here and explain the logic to me, I'd be all profound to listen with all ears because I would love to know what are your takes going forward with all of this being initiated from Sunday. Because had it not been for MD coming up and say, "Oh, they dropped the bomb," I would not have believed MD a word that you said. I was so shocked the moment that they decided to pull, because we saw him pull out a G8 in Canada, and I was saying to myself, "Where the hell is he going?" Because nothing makes sense here. And then we saw a massive I guess you would say, an entourage of like movements of planes and ships going towards the Gulf, and I'm like, all right, so is there some kind of agitation going on? But then when he dropped the bomb, I was like, okay, well, clearly we're now Israel mouthpiece. So why are we Israel's mouthpiece? Why are we following? I can't even say his name. At this point, I don't even want to acknowledge the fool. But why are we giving Benjamin the idea that we should be fighting someone else's war? I don't understand the logic behind all of this, but maybe Venkat, you know why? MD, you know why? I would love to know. I'm just confused. I'm trying to understand the logic of why we pull out of Afghanistan and then go back into Iran, which we all know geographically you cannot invade. MAGA people, get that in your head. You cannot invade Iran. No matter how much you try, it's such a fortress of a country. I can't even fathom to explain to you how tough that would be. But since you guys know so much, can one of y'all come up on the panel and explain your logic to me? I'm all yours. Please do. I'm dying. Can someone implore them to come up on the panel? That's all I want tonight.
Well,
Please come up.
they'll never do that. The maggots will never do that. And the maggots ain't gonna never do it because, I mean, let's remember the election was just this past November, and the day after the election, the amount of smiles and trolling and all this other nonsense and talking about how many states went red and the battleground this and the battleground that. Boy, they love to talk about, especially Trump, love to talk about the win, but there's never talk about the job and the work that it takes to do the job, to make the deals, to do all the work that's necessary to address the issues he campaigned to fix. And it's just funny because now he's in that seat. He did a bunch of executive orders, and not one of them is addressing anything anybody's going through. You got all these companies cutting back. You got all these companies tightening up, and everybody's looking ashy as hell. And I just don't understand how you got a full-size sample of what this jackass was in one term. And the way that term ended was disastrous. The failure of COVID and then the notorious, pathetic attempt to overthrow the government. And that's the guy that you entrusted, because we can't have a black woman, let alone a woman, dare go in that office. A man that's a criminal is way more qualified than a woman that's got all her ducks in a row, literally. So they ain't no answers for anything. What they're trying to do is what they did before. Obama cleaned up that economy, and his bitch ass sat in that chair and just went for a ride and took all the praise of the economy that Obama created. The 75 straight months of economic job growth never happened in this country before that time. And he just wanted to just soak in all the praise of an economy that was on automatic autopilot. And now he's hoping and trying to do the same thing here. But a lot of what he's doing is glaringly bad. And no matter what you do, he's going to try to make a fire over here and put a fire over there and put a fire here. And it'll be all to get your attention off of one thing and the next. So you forget about some of the worst things he's done, and your subject and your conversation goes somewhere else. And how long is that going to be the thing that we run on? Fear and misinformation. Like that stuff has just got to stop. And you just got to start holding these bastards accountable. Starting with Donald Trump, you got a criminal in office sitting down telling people about breaking laws. Laws they ain't even broken. They arresting people that are American citizens legally. They doing all these damn things. They ain't got no strategy, no plan, no nothing. They talked about Doge cutting all this money, then turned around and said, "Oh, we're trying to work on tax cuts." It's all in your face. We know what this is. So yesterday's election, even though it's a little thing, it leaves a little hope that maybe people are paying attention. Maybe with that big ass 5-6 million people that rallied on the day of that stupid ass parade. We're talking about government efficiency, but this bitch ass nigga did a whole $50 million on a parade that was so lame. And we're talking government efficiency. So maybe people that are finally rallying around and protesting, maybe there'll be a unified message. And in 2026, we'll probably have some straightening.
Well, let me say this, and I'll give some backdrop. You brought up the parade, which was actually illegal because he had private companies sponsoring it. and that goes, Blackson said something today talking about the military industrial complex. We literally saw the military industrial complex in the parade.
Yeah.
The 250th anniversary of the Army Celebration Parade is brought to you by Palantir. That's literally the military industrial complex at play. But the MAGA maniac don't understand stuff like that. They don't understand it. You also brought up, I want to take it here. You brought up Barack Obama. So I suffer from a disease called Trump derangement syndrome, right? It's a debilitating disease.
What is that?
It's debilitating. It's where all your arguments, everything that you bring up, somehow, some way, consist of the failures of Donald Trump. That's the symptoms of the disease. It's debilitating, but it stems or it mutated from an original disease called Obama derangement syndrome. Trump is the progenitor of Trump derangement syndrome based on the fact that he had the original strand known as Obama derangement syndrome. Let's take it back. The JCPOA, right? The joint, the joint what does it stand for? Joint something plan of action. That was the original plan Obama had in place for Iran. They literally got rid of 3/5 of their nuclear fission. Got rid of it.
I forgot about that. You're right. You're absolutely right.
Joint conjunction. I think that's what it's called. Joint conjunction plan of action. Now, I don't agree wholeheartedly with that plan and how it was. To me, I don't think Obama should have lifted the sanctions just off the bat. I don't think he should have did that. I think he should have incrementally done it, because you can make an argument that based on the fact that Obama lifted the sanctions on Iran, that directly was a result of funding Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, and all the other shit that we had to deal with years in the future. You can directly link that. You know what I'm saying? So I think Obama kind of fucked up with that part of the agreement. But nonetheless, Iran didn't have a nuclear program at that particular time because they got rid of 3/5 of their uranium. They got rid of it because it was part of the agreement. Go
But
ahead.
but just to interject, sorry to interject there, MD. But the whole point of him doing it was to try to spur conversation wise, because of the fact that Iran was more moving or aligning themselves more with Russia, if you remember. And remember, Russia also had to do the same thing in terms of a plan that we also put in place with them to agree to get rid of most of our arsenal, and they did the same. So I think it was one of those things. Also, to circle back around, Israel was also in the foreground doing their own thing of saying, "Hey, maybe you should try this so and so." And the whole point when what do you call that group in Europe where they're the ones that monitor the whole nuclear fusion thing where
The IAEA.
yes, that they were like, okay, well, we're not saying Iran has anything right now, but it's a possibility that they might. Mind you, because I think if you're looking back on the logic of it, MD, the whole point was for us or the international community to go into Iran and see what they really had, because nobody really knew what they have. It's kind of like, they're speaking of
We did know when Obama had the agreement. We knew exactly
right.
what they had.
But I mean that's them going on the ground and seeing it in, because remember the whole thing was for them to go and look and monitor, because I think Iran
Right.
opened up the border. You see what I'm saying? So that was the whole point of why he did it. Do I agree with it? Like you said, no, I don't think it was one of the smartest moves, but they had to go in and do a couple of chess playing moves here in order to make it look like, all right, we're doing some kind of bargaining or being a mediator here, because I think also with that came the whole concept for Iran to get like when they lift the sanctions, to allow them to have like I guess to order Airbus planes to modernize their fleet of planes for travel in Iran. If I remember well, there was like a huge order that Airbus got, and then they end up canceling it, that order when Trump came in, because the sanctions went back into play. But that was the whole thing, was to spur some kind of thinking that the West was like, all right, well, we're gonna give Iran a kind of like a heads up, because if y'all don't understand this whole thing with the geopolitics of Iran, America has a lot to do with putting in place the person that we know, well, the previous dynasty that would have been the last dynasty of Iran, and that was the Shah. And when that didn't work out, we end up having what we have now, which is this whole fraction of the Ayatollahs and all this stuff. But America has a lot to do with what you see now. The CIA has a lot to do with what you see with Iran now. There's a lot that people don't know. And when we bring up certain things, I'm shocked when I hear most of like the conservatives now going, "Oh, but and even heard some blacks say something to the effect of, "Oh, but when you threaten America," but hold up, hold a minute now. You do realize America had everything to do with Iran, Afghanistan, all of that. We have always been in the thick of things, but there's a reason behind it. But not to deviate and nigger babble. I just wanted to point it out. The reason why Obama did the whole thing empty was just to go on, the ground in Iran to see what they really had per se, and to start a conversation flow. Get the restrictions off. Seeing that we were coming from the what you call it, spring rising, when they had that whole Twitter thing.
The Arab
Iran was,
Spring.
yeah, that whole thing happened, and they were like, all right, maybe it's time to go into Iran and try to. So that's where that came into play from. I just wanted to put that in there. But sorry to mess up your whole flow of the conversation, but I just wanted to point that out. That was very important.
Now you good, and bringing up the IAEA with the JCPOA, the IAEA was going in giving monthly reports on everything that Iran had. When Trump tore up the plan of the agreement, I think they went to quarterly, because Iran wasn't giving them access like that. So again, all this shit ties in to the Obama derangement syndrome, because he couldn't stand Obama, and everything
Yep.
that was wrong in the world was due to Obama. He actually put the dominoes into play for what's happening to this very day. This is what
Yep.
you must understand.
Facts.
This is what you must
Yep.
understand.
Yep.
And
Facts.
nobody's saying, again, we all agree. Nobody is saying that the Obama-Iran agreement was perfect. It wasn't at all. You could actually tie in the whole October 7th attack
Yep.
based on the fact that Obama gave them all that money all in one swoop.
Yep.
That was stupid. That was
Yes,
real
it
dumb.
was. Yes, it was. And the
So
whole logic of us not trying to negotiate with terrorists and all that stuff too also came back to that. I just also feel, sorry to interrupt again, that I feel like Trump is trying to do a pissing match because he wasn't able to do what Obama was able to do, and that was to get rid of Osama bin Laden. I'm trying to mix up the name here. Osama bin Laden. You remember when that whole pivotal moment came when we all remember it when it came breaking news. He came walking up from the foyer in the White House and he was like,
Yep.
"Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to announce that Osama bin Laden is dead." That is the moment that Trump is trying to get, and he can't get it. So I feel like it's a pissing match, and he's trying to come up with ways logically to make it look like, oh, see, Obama did it, but I did something greater. You're not going to get that. It's not a moment for you to do it. That the whole moment, and even then, when these bombers went in and bombed Iran, you think you would have given the credit to those bombers who did the whole, thing.
Nope.
At
It's
least
always about him.
it's always about him. At least Obama, when that happened with Osama bin Laden, gave the credit to the Marine Corps. He gave it to so and so. This one, it was a complete pissing match for 20 minutes. Him just going on and it's all about me and I, sir. There's certain moments you shut the hell up and you give
Yep.
credit where it's due. You don't talk
Yep.
about yourself. You're commander in chief, but shut the hell up. Give the credit to the people that have to literally go in, had the peace of mind of being quiet. Kenny, we discussed this with their family members. They have to be isolated. Go in and do the actual project and get the hell out. It's not about you, but I think this is all a pissing match for him, and that's always been the problem with commander in chief that's present. He just can't have that moment where he can look past the fact that Obama came in and was like, "I killed." Because of my operations, I was able to get rid of Osama bin Laden. That is the only reason why you see him keep doing this whole foolishness. But I digress. Sorry about it, MD. Just wanted to point it out. Sorry, Mega Knights. Got to pull that in there too.
So one thing, real quick, conspiracy queen says, "Do y'all think they'll impeach him again?"
Would it make sense to? But they should.
I mean, it
that
100% makes sense too. He's already done multiple impeachable offenses already,
oh yeah,
so they
yeah.
definitely need to.
I'll say
20
this. It's starting. You're starting to see. I ain't gonna say a fracture in Congress, but it's a couple of people like, come on, like this shit is getting out of hand. Even
Now,
though, right.
now,
Even though, like they super ultra, like Thomas Massey is a super ultra conservative. Let's not get it twisted.
mm-hmm.
Like, but he sees the unconstitutionality of everything that Trump is doing. He
Yep.
sees it. People like Rand Paul. He ain't his
Even
daddy, but at least he.
exactly. I'm shocked by that one. Like Ron Paul, really, like that part got me out of like, wait, what? Ron Paul's not pissed? Okay, I
You
give you
know,
that.
you're starting to see people like say, come on, like with the what one big beautiful bill, like they stand like, come on with some of this shit, man. And today there was actually I forget the story. See, this is what happened when you're just babbling. There was a
Well,
story.
We're gonna make
he's
it
Go ahead.
work.
flooding the zone, so you can't remember everything. So he floods the zones with all his activity. You can't remember everything.
But was it
You're right.
in
You're right.
regards to the Medicare bill, though? MD, is that the part of the bill that you're talking about, or what happened
Yeah,
today?
yeah. That's what happened today. What the parliamentarian,
Mm-hmm.
they every bill that the House gets,
It has to go through
they
them.
get they give it has to go through the parliamentarian
Yes, it does.
to
Checks and
go through the
balances.
legal the checks and balances, right? Legal mumbo jumbo,
Mm-hmm.
constitutionality, so on and so forth.
Yes, sir.
Today they ran the Senate ran the bill through to the parliamentarian, and there were some things in there that the parliamentarian said, hey, look, like, you can't do this shit. You know what I'm saying? And I believe they said it was $400 billion
Yes, they did.
that with Medicaid cuts that wouldn't pass through from a constitutional standpoint,
Nope.
because a lot of it was fed through state funding. Basically the language wasn't right on the bill.
Nope.
Based on the fact that of course, we all know with a lot of social services, it's funneled through from particular parameters of the states. And the way they explained it today, essentially what a lot of states do is they charge medical providers a tax as almost like a loophole, almost like a loophole, where they're able to get more funding federally. That part wasn't specified in the one big beautiful bill. So the parliamentarian was like, hey, look, we know that states, mainly red states, let's keep that shit in mind. You use this loophole in order to garnish or garner more Medicaid funds that are needed for the people that's on Medicaid. You have to basically specify that in the bill, or either find another way to get the $400 billion.
So in layman terms,
So,
MD, can you explain to the average Joe what that means, and basically just what you just said? Because maybe somebody's out there that's not understanding or following along what you're saying. What is it that you're trying to get out in terms of what what actually took place today?
well,
What is
what
the doctrine?
the parliamentarian basically said that $400 Medicaid cut that Congress is trying to implement in the bill cannot be implemented. They can't do it
Bingo. They
based
cannot do
on
it.
the state loophole.
Which
Now, what they could do,
Mhm.
how they explained it, they said what they could do is find the monies from some other situation. But that would take, again, they trying to get a vote on this weekend. Keep that in mind. In order for them to find it somewhere else, they would basically have to rewrite the whole one big beautiful bill. they would have to rewrite it.
Yes, they
And
do.
Trump ain't got time for that.
No, he doesn't. He's very
So I
impatient.
don't know what's gonna happen. Now remember, we got to keep this in mind as well. We're talking about living in the age of Trump. In technical terms, they could say, just like they've been doing with every other constitutional framework, fuck what the parliamentarians say. We're gonna do it anyway. So there's that. You got to keep that in mind. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know what's gonna happen.
Hey, peace out to Kelly Ray over here. She's saying the one big beautiful bill. Oh no, I have a few issues with
Now you got a few issues, huh? now you got a few issues. The MAGA maniac has got a few issues with the one big beautiful bill. What's the sudden change here? I don't understand what's going on. Ain't that what y'all voted for?
Speaking louder for the people in the back. This is what y'all voted for. I'm still. It's just like those Latino people that sing "I will vote for Donald Trump," and you gonna sit there now and bawl.
spiritual lame
Ricardo,
duck of the week. Spiritual
Ricardo, I
lame
will
duck.
vote for Donald Trump.
It's vote, yeah, because the V is being Spanish. But
Yeah.
you don't sit here and cry and I'll talk about it's not fair. They took my husband. What did you think was going to happen? You think they're going to isolate just certain people that look a certain way in the Latino community? No, they're going to get rid of everybody.
Ricardo, check this out. You can't get more ironic than the very exact person that was singing the song "I Will Vote for Donald Trump." The same exact person, Van Cat and Ricardo.
Oh God.
Well,
Like, how does
MD,
that happen?
well, the thing about that, the thing about I was looking at some stuff. I think that was misinformation. I'm looking at a video, and it's not the same person. It's
I
not.
figured.
It's not.
So really what you're saying is all Latinos look alike is what you're saying.
Yeah, but still, I mean, that's still a dubious song. It's still affecting a bunch of Latinos. So
It sure
the
is.
same message is there, even though it's not the exact same person.
That's crazy. So yeah, so that's what we're dealing with. So again, if you go back and look at Obama's policies in regards to the whole Iran situation, everything that has transpired over the course of we only talk about 7 days, folks. A week. All this shit popped off where people thought it was the end of the world. It's finna be nuclear fallout everywhere. They're gonna start dropping bombs left and right. In the span of a week is what we're talking about. Now, like Ricardo brought out, somebody leaked the battle damage assessment to CNN, which we know it happened because Pete Hegseth said it happened.
Oh yes, yes, they did.
Somebody leaked the initial battle damage assessment. Now, keep in mind, the reporter from CNN, I think her name Natasha Bertrand. She got the information from the leakers in the Pentagon, from the Defense Intelligence Agency. And it ain't like she said nothing that was a lie. She did. She told you, hey, look, my sources gave me this initial battle damage assessment. It's not complete. She mentioned all of this shit. She said it's the initial BDA. And Trump and everybody else lost their shit. Said it was fake news. Pete Hegseth doing press conferences left and right. Trump saying the ladies should be fired.
Of course he did.
It sounds like we still got people in the administration that don't rock with Trump all the way fully.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Now let me apply my tinfoil hat.
Uh-oh.
Again, this is totally conspiracy. Ain't nothing truthful about anything that I'm about to say. We also know prior to this whole debacle going down in March, Tulsi Gabbard had to meet with the House Intelligence Committee. And she specifically said, based on our initial intelligence report, Iran is not creating a nuclear weapon. That's what she said. Right. Trump said the hell with what Tulsi Gabbard said. We're gonna bomb them anyway. Now, she been having to booty clap ever since, because I think she just put out a tweet. It was either today or yesterday saying, okay, we got the new battle damage assessment report. It say everything was obliterated. That's the new word of the week, obliterated. Right? Which is a lie.
Before. It's a damn lie.
It's a lie, because the DIA haven't come out with nothing prior to anything. I believe, now this is my belief, I believe Tulsi Gabbard leaked that BDA, that initial one.
Oh wow.
I'm gonna just keep it real with you, Fat Cat. I think that she was the one that did it.
Oh wow.
Because she know Trump on bullshit.
Yeah.
Now you got to remember, Tulsi Gabbard is a Russian asset. You know, Tulsi Gabbard down with Putin, and she was down with al-Assad in Syria and all of that.
That's crazy.
So she like, hold on, don't bomb my people over there in Iran.
Wow.
I don't think she was down for it.
And explain to me, what is Tulsi Gabbard's position again, just to enlighten the crowd that's out there.
Well, she used to be a Democrat. She used to be a Democrat.
But
well, you know, when she was a Democrat, she had meetings about certain foreign policy issues.
You don't say. When?
Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin. Mm-hmm. She had a meeting with Bashar al-Assad.
You don't say.
Former leader of Syria. She had meetings with these people. This is known fact. This ain't no nigga babble conspiracy theory. It's known. People, what they were saying during the campaign when she went MAGA, they said, "Oh, she a Russian asset. A vote for Trump is a vote for Russia," which I agree with.
Yep.
Based on the fact that Tulsi Gabbard was in the back pocket.
Although they want you to believe otherwise, because now we're pivoting. But
you can't forget that other propaganda channel that Blackson was running. So he had
So you know, there you go. You know what I'm saying?
But MD, what is the point of Trump picking her to be his? What is she supposed to be again? Because sometimes I lose my focus.
She the director of national intelligence.
So if I'm the director of national intelligence and I told you that Iran has no such things that which you're claiming to be, because now you're being the mouthpiece for Israel, which we all know the atrocities they're committing next door, and we I can't wait for the Hague to do their job, but that's a whole time and another space to deal with. But I can't for the life of me fathom if I'm your national, person, spokesperson that is in charge of so forth and whatnot. Why is it that you're not believing what I'm saying? And then you had the audacity to go to the media and overdid your oversight of what I told you, and that's not occurring. So I'm confused as for why you pick people that you want. You can't have a yes person for everybody. I hate to say this to some of y'all that are out there. There's certain people that would expect to be like, all right, listen, I know you want me to say yes, but it's a no. It's an absolute no, and I'm going to tell you it's no. And we've seen this before with previous people in the administration. Remember, he had the general. Remember, he had quite a few other. If it was it Bolton? What was the other guy's name with the mustache that the
Yeah,
one
John Bolton. Yeah,
that
he was
wrote the
national.
book?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like for me, I don't understand the logic of this man being, and this is why he's so dangerous. Because if you have no military experience, none, and again, because I know people are gonna come after me, but Obama didn't have either. But at least Obama had people in the circuit that knew or had the fortitude of understanding. Okay, if I did this move as a chess piece, there's gonna be repercussions to it. This man, it's in it, and again, if we're gonna go back to the first, initiation of him coming into power, he did do that one bomb that he dropped on, was it ISIS or ISIL or what do you want to call him now? That was like, a major accomplishment. I'll give him that. That was a thing. But when you have people in your corner that literally know what they're talking about and doing, and then you are going to undermine them, sir, what's the point of you doing that? Why is the point? Why was Tulsi put in a position where she looked like a freaking stupid idiot in front of the media when she went and did all of that for you to then for you to go back and go, oh no, what screw what she says. She's an idiot. I'm the commander in chief. I'm saying that I'm going to go ahead and. But what was that for? That was so unnecessary to me. I'm looking at this from an angle of, sir, you see, your ineptitude seems to be collapsing around your inner circle. Because now, if I were her, I'll be like, okay, well, now I look like a complete moron. So how do I go out and face the press drink it now by saying, okay, well, my president said, no, you were in charge, Tulsi. So why did you let him then go out and say, okay, well, screw what she says. I'm just going to go ahead and I believe I'm going to go ahead and bomb. That defeats the purpose of your position. That's the whole point of why you said, okay, well, I don't think he's going to do so and so, but he still went ahead and did it. So do you then stay in position now, or do you then, because if I were her, I would love to see her just go, I'm just going to resign and just call it a day because I don't want my name sullied going forward. If she has any backbone left, I would do exactly that and just say I'm going to resign within the next 2 weeks. But that's just me. I'm just going to put that out there. Tulsi, if you're listening to me, which I know you're not, if I were you, I would resign now. Just save your day, go out like Spitzer and the rest of them, go write a book, go do Dancing with the Stars, whatever you want to call it, shoot from the ranch. Just be content, but leave because you're the guy that you think. Because I remember she doing this whole speech. Remember Venkat and MD? Oh, if you nominate Kamala, she is going to be a threat to national security. But yet here we are. So what is again? I'm so confused by this whole contrition of nonsense that we're seeing here. What is it? Is it y'all gonna follow blindly behind the piper blowing the pipe, or are you gonna stand up and say, all right, you know what, like Bolton and the rest of them, sir? What you're doing is complete nonsense, and in the hindsight of this country being a complete now open, area of being bombarded by terrorism and whatnot. I would rather we just say to you, sir, just pull back. Just whatever you're doing now, we could save some semblance of what we have, but just pull back. Just give it a week. No, they're not going to do that. Right now, I feel like they're just out there and they're just winging it, and that's just dangerous precedents that we're setting right now. What are we doing? I still need to understand here what is it that we're doing, because the United States, I remember, always had some kind of plan in place just in case plan A didn't work, there was a B and a C. This just look like we're just doing E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, P, and then if we stumble on S, then that works. That's not how it works here, people. We're in brinksmanship. Figure it out and move forward. We're doing chess piece. We're in the where are we at now? Because it was the Middle East. They call the what the there's a word they used to call it, MD. What is it? The something
What you mean?
basket of what do you call it again? It's like the most volatile area on earth. You always have some issue because of what we've done with Israel and going into Palestine and all of that. You will always have some issue in that area. But what we don't understand, what we can't understand now going forward, is how does this affect the power play here? We have Russia on one side, we have China, which is still there doing God knows what they're doing, and then you have South Korea, which Little Kim has been very quiet lately. I've yet to hear anything from Little Kim. Has anyone heard anything from Little Kim
So
since?
let me say, so you brought up a good point. You talk about Russia and China. China not so much, but Russia most definitely. The reason I say this was all a game, and I brought this up to Blackson, and he didn't even know what the hell I was talking about. In Iran, okay, you talk about the 3 bases that the U.S. struck. You got Isfahan, you got Natanz, and you got Fordo, which is the mountain one. But you also have a 4th one, which, based on everything that I've researched, is the 2nd greatest nuclear facility in Iran. It's called Bashir. Now, funny, Israel nor the United States didn't hit that nuclear facility. Why? The reason they didn't do it is because there were Russian scientists at that base. They supply rocket fuel to Russia, as well as it was there you go, as well as they were enriching uranium at that base. Netanyahu ain't say a damn thing about that base. Trump didn't say a damn thing about that base. Raising Cain didn't say a damn thing about their base. So I think it's quite clear that this was all a bullshit game. It was bullshit. You didn't get rid of nothing. Go ahead.
But that's the basis of everything Trump. Everything that he does has no real solid footing. Let's deport immigrants. And he does it at a lower capacity than Obama.
Then Biden.
But and Biden.
Month over month, Biden has deported more people than Trump. And every day on the TV, we seeing somebody getting their ass beat or getting locked up from ICE.
For propaganda purpose.
It's TV.
Yes. And then where does Trump come from? TV. He's a game show host, people. We entrusted nuclear codes to a game show host. Come on, man. This guy has done nothing. And now this is the other issue. It's TikTok, mother lover. So you only got but so much time left in the White House. So at this point, Donald Trump has been running for president since 2015. It's 2025. That's 10 years. He has 3 more years. It's going to be 13 years of Trump, the destruction of a country. And after that, the tallying has to come up about what he's done, how effective it's been, and is your life better when he came in to when he left? So, I mean, we already got some of that reporting off the first administration. He fumbled COVID, everything was messed up, and all that bull that happened, he just blamed it on the last guy. He just blamed it on Biden. He ain't gonna have nobody to blame. At the end of this term, that's kind of why, like, if somebody said we can go back to the past and make it where Kamala wins or make it when whoever wins, I'm like, no. Leave it. We need this to happen. We need all this to play out, to show and to have it down in the history book. As you do this kind of crap, this is the end result. If Trump would have lost against Kamala, he would have continued conspiracies. People would have had in their back mind, oh man, he was cheated, all that crap. So I'm glad it went this way. I mean, I'm not glad because we're coming up short as a country, but it just seems that the American people have to go through something to realize the obvious. Again, the Republican Party since 1989 has produced 1
Finest.
million jobs. 1 million. And that was George W. Bush that did the 1 million. Everything
Okay,
else,
that's
49 million, 49 million came from the Democrats. So the last 10 out of 11 presidents were Republican presidents that gave us a recession. So I don't know what the hell we're voting for.
Let's bring it back to Mom Donnie then, and tie it all together.
Mm-hmm.
Again, in my opinion, this is less about the popularity of Mom Donnie and more about just the outright stupidity of the Democratic Party. That's my opinion. That just we talking about Andrew Cuomo, the sexual assault guy.
Yep.
That's who we talking about.
Yep.
And you got people like Bill Clinton. You got people like Jim Fish Fry Clyburn. Hell, basically today you had Kathy Hochul saying that she wasn't endorsing him. The establishment is not rocking with dude. Based on the fact, and like I said, I got my issues with the guy, but
With
at the
Como?
very no with Mom Donnie.
No, the Muslim
Okay.
dude.
Okay.
I got the issues with the guy, but at the end of the day, if this is what's gonna be the jetpack that they put on the Democrats, so be it. I can't trip on it.
Well, MD,
At least y'all showing some type of life.
You have an issue. You have an issue, MD, because he's a socialist. That's why.
Right. Yeah, you're right. Exactly right.
Just spit it out and call it a day for what it is. He's a socialist.
No, you're right. You're right.
But I'm gonna go on a limb and say I don't believe he is. I think he's just shooting that out there so he could get the votes and garner it, kind of like being like what's her face that's from New York as well. What's her name? ROC.
So you saying he a liar? You hear that, Beckett?
No, I'm not saying he's a liar. I'm just saying he's using certain words to elevate his platform. Right. He's using certain words to elevate his platform. Now it will it's gonna remain to be seen if he's gonna be, I guess reach that caliber of the Bernie Sanders. Again, I find it weird because I don't know why you'll compare yourself or why is anybody comparing him to Bernie Sanders? At least Bernie did his dues. Bernie's been in politics for a long time. So at least we could vouch for what Bernie does. You just got into the whole scene and he reminds me of, and I hate to say this as well, he kind of reminds me when Obama came in. I was never sure about Obama when he came in. I was just like, I don't know who this dude is. I know he's from Chicago, but they're going on, and that's my problem with the Democratic Party. I've always said this. They have a tendency to pick people or elevate them in such a way where they're like, oh my God, it's the next greatest thing. And you're like, but who the hell is he? Or who the hell is her? What is it that they do? Because I'm still confused as to what is it specifically he's going to be able to do. And then they would just spin the whole, thing, and it just goes into a circus thing. And then it's just like, okay, if he falters, then oh well. But if he does well, it's like, okay, well, he's the next best thing. I need you to explain to me what is it that he's going to be able to do? Because this is New York. This is the largest metropolitan city in the entire continental U.S. And there's been, lest we forget, because again, Venkat brought up my favorite word, fickle. American people are very fickle when it comes to remembering things. Remember, New York is the same state that had the truckloads of people coming in that they claim were immigrants that are doing all this crime and all of this blah, 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 blah. And, they couldn't stand it. We're turning hotels into hostels, and we're turning them into this and, there's crime everywhere. Trump comes in, and then we barely hear that anymore. I mean, at least I give Trump some credit somewhere where he was able to get the immigration issue, to a grinding halt at the border. At least.
But Ricardo, that was the establishment doing that, though. And your analogy with Obama, that was actually good. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, but
that's exactly how it was. Didn't nobody know who the hell Obama was.
And that's
Obama was Hogan coming from AWA. That's who. Nobody know who it was.
Like brand new on the scene. Literally.
And the Democratic Party put a rocket on his back. The Democrats did that. The only difference is this time it's organic. It's not the Democrats at all. It's
Yeah,
organic.
and that's where it's concerning. It's not the spin machine from the Democratic, used to people. It's like a complete different. And that's my other thing. Are we still, because Venkat, I need to understand, and so MD, I need your viewpoint on this as well. Are they even an opposition party anymore? I don't know where the Democratic Party stands right now. I'm still confused as for where they really are, because I still can't get over the fact that when Trump did that first speech coming into play in January, and they are putting up paddle signs talking about we're going to flip back and forth when they should have walked up with the guy that they kicked out of the chamber. I still thought that was a moment that was lost as an opposition party. If you really want to make a statement, walk the hell out with the man with the cane. You guys sit there and did that paddle thing. Like, what the hell was that? Are you fanning yourselves in the heat of the moment? What was? I'm still confused. What are they? Are they an opposition party at this point, or are they just a
No, they
a
they
fluffed
they're
up?
they're a company, bro. They about
That
making money.
again, this is my problem with Democratic parties. Are you going to step up to the moment and seize it and be like an opposition where, and when I mean opposition party, I mean you're now going to call out the bullcrap for what it is. You're going to say, all right, if you're going to arrest us, if you're going to come after us, so be it. But at least we have this and this and this in our corner. They're literally just falling back to the point where I'm like, all right, no, it's like dead cricket silence everywhere. There's nobody stepping up anywhere. I'm yet to see somebody go, all right, we're gonna do this. What about the oversight committee at this point? What's her name? Crockett stepped down. I think she said she's not gonna be running. I don't know what's going
Yeah,
on. You
yeah.
see what I'm
They
saying?
knocking them out the box, man. They
This
they
is
knocking all the
crazy.
young progressives and the young Democrat. They knocking them out the box, bro.
And that's concerning because I need these young up and coming people that really made an impact. Like the what's her name from New York? I don't even know where she stands because she said it looks like she's gonna run because remember she had an issue with Bernie, but now it looks like she's aligned with Bernie. AOC, I
Well,
don't know where she stands
well,
anymore. She's here and there on Twitter, but she's kind of quiet.
well,
Democratic Party,
well, well
I
off the bat, Ricardo, the Democrats can't put out another woman. If you're a woman,
What?
I don't care how this sound right now. This reality speaking now.
Okay.
We done gave your bitch asses 2 shots. It's over, man. So it's
Well,
got to be a
well,
dude.
well, you know what they're saying now. They trying to say Alyssa Slotkin from Michigan might be it.
Well, she
no,
done. Eh,
no,
she
no.
done. Just
I'm
if she has
sorry.
a C in her, she's done.
Yeah,
It
no,
has
I'm
to be a
sorry.
dude. That's the way it is right now. Ain't no woman as much. I like AOC. I would have loved for her to be a candidate, but it ain't happening. Right, not in this moment. We
Mm-mm.
can't get another female nominee. Any female going, they better just forget about that crap now and think about 15 years from now because it
we
ain't
So
got
you
happening
so you're
right.
not
we
so you're not looking at New York City as a barometer. You're not.
No, no, not for that. No, no, no,
yeah,
not at
but
all.
and MD, don't forget, New York is kind of wishy washy, right? Because you have a lot of closeted MAGA people that are in New York. As much as we hate to say it, they're everywhere. But in New York, particularly as a demographic as a whole, I feel like the election kind of gave that kind of insight that there's a lot of people that will say, "Oh, we're gonna vote Democrats," but really and truly, they're really MAGA people behind the scenes. So I don't know, and this is where I said I can't gauge this guy because for him to be like, "Oh, I'm the new socialist," like I'm the you could paint me as the new Bernie Sanders. No, sir, we don't know you like that. Like you have to prove. At least Bernie did his dues, did his years. We know what he stand for, what his mantra was. Almost became president. They took that away from him, and we still know how that felt because we watched it in real time. We saw that man ball his eyes out because we knew when Hillary was getting the nomination, and he was literally there. He didn't even want to give up his vote, but that was to show you that that man has an integrity in place. I don't know about this guy though. I don't think I could gauge it. I don't think New York should be the fall pit of us going forward, saying, "All right, then we know what's going to happen." We know midterms is next year, but this it takes more than that to get this whole train running again. We still are coming off the heels of an election, which again, MT, I'm going back to that night where you mentioned that, there's a lot of things that seemed very weird. And here it is now that we've completely forgotten because we're so fickle. We forgot about Elon Musk being a part of this whole crap. And I think I could put on my conspiracy theory and say maybe this could be all a ploy. That maybe they found a way to get out and just got out. Seeing that it's, but it wouldn't surprise me one bit with Russia in play, with Elon and his satellites, because we all know Starlink is up there. What would it take for us to go back and I need some investigation done? Democrats, I need you to start being an opposition party. Y'all know what to do. If it means to go back and investigate this election, go back and do it, because I think there's a lot of weird things that night that was happening that we still, if we all remember, things and machines weren't working well, and we kept hearing these people talk a whole game leading up to the election. Then we had this whole, conveniently timed shootings and, fist in the air thing, and we're fickle. We
Yeah,
need
well,
people.
I mean, to go what you're saying,
We need the
you had,
investigation going.
yeah, because there were reports. I don't know how I feel about this, but there are reports about like certain Democratic districts having Kamala Harris 0 votes.
Correct.
I don't know how
Yes.
real that, but it's a lot of that reporting going on, and it's very suspect. But is that real? Is that people starting stuff to try to match the same MAGA bullcrap that happened in
No, I think
2020?
it's
I'm
real.
not
I think it's
interested in that.
real. No, I
I'm
think
not
it's
I'm gonna
real,
start.
interested
I'm
in
gonna
that.
start. I'm gonna start calling you Ricardo Giuliani.
Yeah, with the grease
Yeah,
running
but
down my face and all of that.
Yeah.
at
Whatever happened to
this
him and the
point,
remote?
the
But go ahead, Wicked.
Democrats need to get away from any female being in there. It needs to be all male. It needs to be Tim Walz. Tim Walz has a little platform going right now. He needs to take full advantage of the moment. In the election that just passed, out of the 4 people for vice president and president, he was the most popular person. Kamala Harris was -3. Vance and Trump, they were in double digits in the negative, but Walls was actually in the positive, like about in the teens to the 20s. So he was the only one that had a positive image in that campaign. He obviously needs to put his hat out there and be a nominee come 2028. Shapiro is
Yeah.
one. He didn't get the pick. We need to stop playing games. And that's why I'm like, the Democrats don't got to do nothing. All they got to do is ride that wave of anger that's going on right now, just like the Tea Party crap in 2010. That's going to happen for 2026. After that happens, then they need to get their stuff together, get to 2028, because that pretty much is going to be handed over to them. All they got to do is just don't Biden it up. Do what's obviously need to be done. Don't have an old ass candidate and somebody that can't put sentences together that's about to die from a terminal disease and talking about if he was still in the race, he would have won. Whatever, nigga. So Joe Biden freaked up a part of his legacy by being a dumbass. But other than that, it's very clear cut what the Democrats need to do. I would say the Republican Party was in a worse situation at this time last year and 2 years ago because they had issues where they couldn't even get a House Speaker. And the buffoonery that happened there. And then Donald Trump's campaign and all the mishaps and bull that happened there. That was a worse situation.
They couldn't even pass a budget. They couldn't pass the budget.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So people talk about the Democrats don't got to do jack squat diddly. Emphasis on the diddly. They don't got to do nothing. All they got to do is wait for that time and then just take your prize. That's all they got to do. The American voters, especially as of late, have not been that intricate. They just like, I don't feel good right now. Who's in power? Vote the opposite way. That's about it. And whether you feel good, like you can't compare this time right now to last year or 2 years ago. You had all this complaining about I can't afford pork, I can't afford eggs. Now all of a sudden it's even higher than what it was back then, and we're not talking about that. So it's all politics, it's all fairy tales. And these people are disingenuous. So I'm not taking none of that serious.
It's a cult.
Exactly. So why am I going to bring myself down to that level to try to accommodate those jackasses? The truth of the matter is Donald Trump didn't win because he had this sweeping, glorious campaign. Donald Trump won because 40 to almost 50% of the eligible voters didn't vote. They didn't vote. That would have been the deciding thing right there. They just didn't vote. Donald Trump finally won the popular vote. First time a Republican in almost like 25 years, right? So the problem with that is that he only won it by barely 2 million votes. Put that in perspective. Hillary Clinton, when she lost to Donald Trump in 2016, she beat Donald Trump in the popular vote by almost 4 million. And she was the loser. So this mandate talk and all this delusions, other kicker, friggin' Kamala Harris got the third highest vote total in the history of elections. Point blank. She was only 2 million, just under 2 million behind Trump. So she got more votes than Trump did in 2016. So like all these like ridiculous fairy tales and weaving of the story to make it fit some silly narrative, the mandate is still out there. Is the bottom line was Joe Biden screwed over the Democratic Party. We didn't have a primary. Now you got a party that is lost with its identity. They didn't have a time to flesh out who really they were and what they were about. And then Kamala Harris was thrown with 3 months to go to make something happen. That's bullcrap. So again, the Democrats don't got to do a goddamn thing. And I'm not going to sit and pretend that any little side story of like a Democrat doing something that may not be the greatest is somehow some big spectacular mishap when these jackasses are taking away civil rights and liberties and whatnot, among other things. So Democrats just need to sit on their hands. 2026 come, they gonna win it. And 2028 come, they gonna win it unless they have a complete jackass as a nominee. And they need to have the primary, as soon as 2026 done, they need to be in primary mode. They need to be in election mode. They need to start doing everything they need to do, flesh out who the candidate is, and boom, back in power. And now they got to try to fix a country that's going to be completely destroyed. That is obvious.
Hey, I don't disagree with you on that. All right, final point I guess we can make before we get off of here. You know, we talking about the Democrats. You know, again, I agree with everything you just said, Venkat. And that almost goes to the point. I know a lot of people don't like James Carville, but essentially that's what James Carville been saying. Now, people don't like it when he say lay down and play dead. You know, I don't agree with the terminology. but essentially that's exactly what you just got finished saying. You don't have to do much, like at all. You just gotta, hey, look, point your finger over there, look at the Republicans, look at what they're doing. Come holler at me in November 2026. Now, the issue then becomes, like you said again, Venkat, what's the candidate that you're gonna present to the people? That's the problem. And a case study of that is what we just saw in New York City. All you had to do was just sit there and say, hey, look, you see what's going on? One of the candidates, Lander, I think he placed third in the election. That was the comptroller. Remember last week, they showed a video of him with ICE in the courthouse. Hell, they damn near beat his ass and put him in handcuffs. Because he was asking ICE, hey, look, you got a warrant, you just can't take him. They almost knocked his ass out. So again, all the things that the Trump administration is doing, all you got to do is point in that direction. But you also have to have some type of solution in the candidate that you present. It's as simple as that. It ain't hard. It ain't hard at all. So we look at all the stuff that's been going on with the Democrats. I don't know if you guys know, a couple of weeks ago, the DNC, the Democratic National Committee, they actually fired their vice chairs, David Hall and Malcolm Kenyatta. What they wanted to do is basically primary a lot of congressional seats. Now, let me ask you, Venkat, based on everything that we saw, everything that we just talked about, do you agree that the DNC should be primarying other Democrats. Me personally, I don't agree with it. I think, if we look at what Mamdani was able to do, he didn't have that machine, that DNC machine behind him. He did it organically. I don't think the DNC's role is to finance Democrats against other Democrats.
I think that that is a yes and no depending, because are we gonna have a Joe Manchin Democrat out there, Kristen Sinema Democrat out there? Some of these people that are Democrat, they're just using the position to further themselves, but they're not really Democrat. So I know that what's his name, Hogg, the kid that was a part of that shooting in Parkland, Florida, right?
Yeah.
He's going after some Democrats. I believe it's those kind of Democrats, the Democrats that aren't really like looking for the right way as far as the overall objective for what the Democratic Party should be about. Equal rights, freedom, opportunities, things of that nature, advancement, progress. There's just some Democrats that are just low-key Republican. Some are just like exploiting situations and being obstructionists within their own party, as Manchin and Sinema and others have done. So for those kind of Democrats, also remember they censured Al Green, the guy with the cane, Al Green, and it was double figures amount. I think it was over 15 Democrats that went along with that. Like, do we really want those people to be Democrats, representing Democrats? So if you're going after those bastards, I'm all in for it. And actually, this is the time to do it, so we can get our stuff together for that one message that we need to have in 2026 and 2028. So frig them all, frig all of them, because the buffoon show is just, it can't happen anymore. And even with that, Joe Biden was able to maneuver masterfully with the Joe Manchin and the Kristen Sinema issues. He still was able to pass so much legislation that was groundbreaking.
I'm glad you brought that up. Even with the situation with Biden and Sinema and Joe Manchin with the American Rescue Plan.
Yep.
It was the parliamentarian that told Joe Biden he wasn't able to pass the $15 hour minimum wage.
Right.
It was actually the parliamentarian.
Yeah, Joe Biden didn't want to pass that. That's one of his major things.
I can't. I can't let you do that. I can't let you do that, Van Cat.
I'm telling you, he didn't want it. I know he didn't want it.
Biden stood by rules and regulations and ways and means.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
Bro, if you go look, first of all, it's not up to all. Biden can say, hey, look, this is my policy demand. Figure a way to get it through Congress. That's what he did. Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema went to the parliamentarian and said, hey, look, this is what Joe Biden wanted in this bill. The parliamentarian said no, based off the language or whatever. Now, you could make an argument that Biden didn't try to go back and get co-sponsors to rewrite part of the American Rescue Plan. I give you that. But at the very least, he said, hey, look, okay, we got to take this part out so we can get it through. You can at least give him that credit, Van Cat.
I can't give him credit. Give him credit. Because right from the get-go, he put the minimum wage, $15 minimum wage on the chopping block. And he also, what exposed Joe Biden as orchestrating the killing of $15 minimum wage is that there were some senators that were directly linked to Joe Biden that would do everything and anything Joe Biden asked of them to do. And their votes were no. Their votes were Joe Biden votes. So that came from the horse's mouth. He was never interested in raising the minimum wage. And that's kind of idiotic and stupid because now that got used against him. When you tell people later on in his administration run that, hey man, things cost a lot. I can't afford this. I can't afford that. Well, you could have easily came back with, I was the one that raised the federal minimum wage for the first time since 2009 from $7 an hour to $15 an hour. You think I don't have your back? You think I don't do the things that's necessary for your life to be improved? Check my record. He couldn't do that because he didn't do what he was supposed to do. And during a pandemic and inflation, how do you not raise the minimum wage when people rent is going up to $800, $1,000? I know people personally in my life that their rent went up over $1,000 in one calendar year. So cost of food, cost of cars, cost of everything is up, and you can't increase by a few bucks the minimum wage of workers during a very dangerous time with COVID and whatnot out there. That's some bullcrap. That was a failure on Joe Biden, and his bitch ass paid a price for it. So, again, I could say here that he did a lot of good things here, there, and there, but I can also say where he frigged up at. And that's the difference, the fundamental difference between a person like me and a person like the maggots. They ain't doing genuine conversation or intentions. They're just cultish and just yes men. I'm not. I'm a progressive. I'm just looking for the best way to get to where we need to be. And the Republican Party is not a viable option. It's just not.
Hey, there you have it, man. Hey, so I guess that's the show. Shout out to Bones for stopping through. I wanted to answer this question real quick before we got off. Well, it wasn't a question; it was a comment that Conspiracy Queen made. She said that why trans agenda was the biggest focus is beyond me. I disagree with that. It wasn't the focus in the 2024 election. The Republicans made it a talking point.
Well, they paid $60 million in ads all about that.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, she and others, they gravitated to that.
Yeah. So maybe I'm misinterpreting what Conspiracy Queen said. I don't know if she putting that on the Republicans or the Democrats. And, just to give context.
No, I think she's putting it on the Republicans. I mean, the Democrats. I think she's putting it on the Democrats. Yeah.
But the Democrats didn't make the trans agenda a focus, though.
Exactly. But a lot of people's perception is of that. They're like, oh, men and women's sports, all this other nonsense that we're pushing. There's like less than 10 guys in women's sports in the entire country. And that's an issue we're pushing. Meanwhile, people are dying from healthcare, lack of healthcare, and all these other issues. But we're pushing that. But that's being pushed by the Republican Party. So they don't know or understand where it's coming from. They just hear it. And then it gets spread, and nobody questions where the genesis of it all came from. So that's a problem. Because you don't have that kind of awareness to question why is things being talked about like this. That's a problem.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're right. But again, that goes back to our point with the lack of I guess you would say a position when it came to a lot of kitchen table issues that Democrats they weren't having those conversations. They just weren't. They still aren't in a lot of ways. You know what I'm saying? So, hey man, shout out to Zoran Mamdani. That's all. Hey, good luck to you, big bro. That's all I can say. You know what I mean? If you give me, I think another thing he said he want to go 30. So okay, let me say this, and this is my last thing on, then we're gonna get out of here. He got all these aspirations to do all this stuff: $30 minimum wage, free bus pass, all this stuff. New York City, we know, is a huge economy. Let's not get it twisted. I don't know the ranking, but it's New York City at the end of the day, the biggest city in the country.
Yeah,
They got a lot of money.
Yeah, I think New York. I want to say that New York is like behind Texas. I know that. What's the name? Oh
Cali is
God.
number one.
Cali in the world economy.
LA. Yeah.
In the world economy, they're fourth.
They're fourth.
They're the fourth
They're
largest.
fourth in the world.
Texas
They the
is
number
like
one
seven.
economy in the world.
Right. New York
Right.
is in the top 10 somewhere. I think like 9 or 10 or something like that. So that's a major economy. We're talking it could be an economy by itself against other nations.
So we know it's got plenty of money.
Yep.
We also know local economies are not ran like federal economies. We know this. The United States government, I've said it a million times, I'll say it a million more. They can print the shit up. We know how it works through modern monetary theory. All this shit about budget and deficit is not a real thing as it pertains to the federal government. Different story when you're talking about a local economy. Where is all this money gonna come from in the sense of we understand that he wants to do tax hikes on rich people. We know what's happening in Los Angeles and California right now. The Fortune 500 companies are leaving California, going to places like Texas, Atlanta, Charlotte. They leaving because they're getting better tax subsidies and a better workforce. Let's just keep it a buck. I'm just putting it out there, Van Cat. Again, like I said, we'll see. I don't want to downplay it.
You're not wrong. You're not
wrong. I don't
wrong.
want to downplay it too much. What would happen if a lot of these millionaires and billionaires in New York say, bump that, I'm not paying another cent in taxes?
Right.
They take their company and pack up and come down south like hell most of other companies do.
Right.
Then your whole aspirations of this socialist utopia is down the tube.
Right.
Now everybody looking stupid and they mad. And now they saying make America great again. Who we blame it on?
I get it. That's a good point. That's a good point. It's something you can't deny. I can't deny what you're saying.
Okay. Hey, as long as you recognize it. As long as you recognize it. Like I said, we'll see. Like I said, at this point, I don't give a damn what Democrats do. Just do something. That's all I'm asking. Just do something. The lay down and play dead, I agree with it from a national standpoint. But we talking about a local election. So,
right.
Hey, we'll see. With that being said, hey, that's all I got. I'm disappointed, Van Cat. I'm disappointed.
Yep.
Blackson talked all that shit. Today, I couldn't even do my work. I'm driving down the road, having to listen to this guy. I'm like, what the hell is going on? So I fully expected for this man to be on the panel tonight, and I was gonna give him his opportunity to talk his shit. And damn it, he didn't show up.
Yep.
I just be damned.
I'm thoroughly disappointed, and there was no ill will here. We're not trying to set up Blackson or nothing of that nature. I thought we were just gonna have a nice discussion. I don't need people to agree with me all the time. Let's just hash it out. Let's just have that conversation.
Hell, me and you don't agree most of the time.
Right.
So I mean, I don't understand. Oh, there go Ricardo. I thought Ricardo was out of there. Yeah, I mean, it was no need for the hostility that you displayed today, Blackson. Like I said, I was welcoming you back with open arms.
Yeah.
And damn it, you stood me up. I just be damned.
Yep.
That's crazy. So now I fully expect to hear some more crazy shit tomorrow. And I'm not dealing with it. I got to go home tomorrow. Tomorrow is my home day. I got to go home. I'm not going to be driving up 75 and 95 listening to your crazy ass.
Yeah.
This is insane. You had the opportunity right here. We was gonna let you lay out your premise, and that would have been
And
the end
Mag
of it.
explain.
I don't know, man. I don't know. That was weird. That was weird.
Well,
But anyway,
hopefully we could get a course correct and we could try to do it again. But there's no reason to run. Hey, man, his guy won. His guy won. Ain't
yeah,
nobody, ain't nobody breaking down the government to protest it. Democrats
right.
like, okay, you won. But the problem
Right.
is he has to now govern, and he has shown no capacity to do that. So defend your guy's stance on things. I mean, he said in one video about hugging loved ones and
Exactly. And that's what I'm talking about. You can't tell me what all and like I said, I'm not gonna speak for Van Cat.
Circus
Van
come
Cat
to town.
can speak. He can speak
And
for
and
himself.
and, and not for nothing. And not for nothing though, he has a lot. He has a few wins under his belt. I mean, he said he came in to try to solve the immigration issue at the border. We barely hear that much issue regarding the border anymore. So we give it to him when credit needs to be due. But all we're saying now is the mega crowd cannot keep defending the same bull crap when we've been through this before. This is our second time with this man. So any illogical nonsense you guys are trying to defend for him, it won't work because we've seen it before. We've been through it before. You can't come back with the same nonsense because remember, your guy now defunded most of the things that we need. We're going through the hurricane season here in South Florida. We're down south. So you can't circle a Sharpie and say that the hurricane is going this way when really and truly it's going the opposite way. We ain't about to do that. You can't drop bombs in a hurricane and diffuse a hurricane because hurricanes are formed, they're natural disasters. You can't drink bleach to try to cure an ailment that came from a pandemic. That's not going to work. These nonsenses that he always comes up with to distract us with, I mean, I blame the media for always jumping on every nonsense that he does, but it won't work for some of us. We've been through it. We know what it is. We call a spade a spade. I need him now to start governing. You're the commander in chief. You are the president of the United States. You literally are going into midterms next year. I don't know what the MAGA crew, at least with the Tea Party, I know what I was dealing with. But the MAGA crew is all over the place. Y'all need to be centered again, and we need y'all to focus. I think the problem with Black Sun was that he said that the debate was going to be on. I think the topic would have been on should we still be spending money in the Ukraine if don't
Which don't make
what you
but
call
that
my
don't even
words.
make sense though, Ricardo. What kind of
But that's
that's
what I think
totally
that was.
subjective.
But that was the premise. I think that's why from the last time I checked, that was what I heard him say when he was
Yeah,
driving
that's
the
what he
truck.
said. That's
Was
what he
that
said.
he said something, then his position would have been to come in and he was going to try not to nigga babble because he knows that's how MD was getting. Because he says that MD, if you don't agree with MD, sometimes it comes across like I'm nigga babbling, and I didn't want to do that. So when I come in, I'm going to try to wing it on top of my head and come in. And I said, all right, fine. As long as he's understanding of knowing that when we present facts, you can't pivot and deflect. Facts are facts. We just it is what it is, and that's always been my problem with the MAGA crew. When you present facts, they all start doing this whole going around in circles things. We don't got time for that. I need you to come in. You need to state your position and all of that. But I think that's what it was. Again, Black Sun, we have no issues with you over here. We just want to hear your position in being a Magonite. If you're going to continue being a Magonite, we want to know what your actual position is regarding now that this man has drawn us into another conflict. Seeing that he said that he was gonna be the peacemaker. He's gonna pull us out of Afghanistan if he could. It would have been Obama that would have been the one and now here we are. So why are you being Israel's mouthpiece? Why you said you didn't like Netanyahu, and now all of a sudden you're his mouthpiece? Why is that? We need to know your position, MAGA crew, as for why your boy, your man here is pivoting and deflecting and doing all sort of stuff when this is not what that's not what y'all are on, but this is what y'all voted for. So we lay it on the table. Y'all free to come up, speak your piece. If we have another discussion next time around, we got to do this. And just I just want to wrap this up before at one when Nicholas Bible. We didn't talk about this whole shooting thing that happened in Tim Wall State, where they start getting these people. 2 people died.
Yeah.
We're going through
Minnesota,
this
yeah.
nonsense again. Did we not learn from
A
what's her
damn
name getting
MAGA
shot,
maniac.
in her head?
He was a MAGA maniac.
Like
Again,
this
a
is
MAGA maniac.
But this is crazy. We need to cut this out. And I know identity politics is one thing, but we can't be using violence here. We've gone through this with Pelosi's husband. We've gone through this shooting on the baseball field. We can't be going back down familiar roads again. We need to cut that out. If you have a disagreement with someone, you guys are entitled to have disagreements, but you don't take that out by shooting people and killing people. That's not what I should say. Unaliving people. That is not how we do things, man. This is crazy. We've gone to the point of no return when we're doing this. So I implore everybody, just sit down, relax. We can have disagreements, but don't go for the easy pivot of violence. We don't need that. That's very unnecessary. But it's rest in peace, and our condolences goes out to those politicians that got affected by the violence a week ago. It ain't cute. It's not cool. It's something that I've spoke about, doing tape fist that I expected to come about, but it's still shocking nonetheless to see when it happens. Don't do it, people. But that's not how we do stuff. But I just wanted to put that out there.
All right, Venkat, you got anything else to say, man, before we get out of here?
No, that was it. A great show overall. And you were making a point earlier after I had said about Blackson, talking about hug your loved ones, and he was worried and concerned. But you were trying
Right.
to say something. I don't remember. I mean, you
Hell, I
trailed
don't
off.
remember. Hell, I don't damn remember. But yeah, I mean, again, I don't see how we get from talking about hugging our loved ones to you talking about should we be the I can only connect the dots by you saying hugging our loved ones as if Russia is some type of threat to us. But then you turn around and say, I recognize that the United States armed services can't nobody touch us. And you said I'm a Russian propagandist. Now I want to fight intellectually. You the one said we all gonna die essentially.
Yep.
You said it. So I mean, all I'm trying to figure out is what's the inflection point in which you put so much onus on Russia. Being a Russian propagandist can include misinformation based on what you feel about said topic. It don't necessarily mean that you lying about anything. You just might be such in a position of being a megamaniac that the influence is strong toward whatever you think. So I we'll figure all that out. We'll try next time, Blackson. You just relax, take a deep breath. We'll try next time. And with that being said, hey, that's the show, folks. Again, this summer, the relaunch TFP 2.0 will be back, and it'll be a whole new format, and it'll be just like the good old days. Hell, maybe Black Sun will be a concurrent guest on the program. I don't know. We'll see. But hey, it is what it is, man. I'm going to sleep.
Yep.
I'm going to sleep. All right, fellas. Hey, with that being said, peace.
All right. Peace.
Peace out.